Today, let's talk about moving your podcast over from something like Anchor over to a dedicated paid hosting service. I got some answers for you coming up next. Hey there, podcaster. My name is the Shan Man, radio broadcaster, podcaster, and a podcast producer. And today's video is brought to you, of course, by Agora Pulse. And I am in a new area in my house. I'm actually in my master bedroom because this is the coolest room in the house. It is officially, I think, going to be 109 in Phoenix today. And it's a warm day. And my office is not as cool for some reason. I don't know why. It's probably because the sun hits it a certain way. So I'm in the coolest room in the house, but I do have the air conditioning turned off. I have all the fans turned off. I'm sweating for you, just so you know, I'm sweating for you. So today, let's talk all about moving your podcast over from Anchor onto a different service. Now, I did a video last week that you can check out that's up here, and it's all about whether or not you should use Anchor as a podcast hosting service because it's free. And that's what gets people in, is that it's a free service. You don't have to pay for storage of your audio files anywhere. It's free and you can use it. And here's the other benefit behind Anchor is that they will put your podcast on iTunes and Google Play and all that. And you don't have to do any of that work. Now, in that initial video where I was talking about whether or not you should use Anchor, focused on the content and focused on whether or not you own your content. And this all was spawned out of a Twitter feed that was discussing the terms of service, and you can go watch that video if you want, but it raised questions for certain podcasters, and podcasters were asking me why I was being misleading, and by no means was I trying to be misleading. However, the terms of service, before they updated them, which were probably hours after I had created that video, they updated by saying that, hey, users that use our service, our platform, they do own their content. And, we don't want people thinking that they don't own their content. So Anchor was really quick to go ahead and move their terms of service to where it's a little more friendly for the user. However, there's always a but when it comes to free services. How much control do you have over the service? When I mean control, how much control do you have over the RSS feed? How much control do you have over gaining the links that are necessary if you want to move from Anchor over into something called, or something like a Libsyn or Blubrry, okay? Now, typically as a podcaster, you're going to have to go through a rite of passage. And that rite of passage means that you're going to have to set up a Libsyn account, and you're going to have to set up an iTunes account, and you're going to have to set up a Google Play account, and you're going to have to set up a Stitcher account, a partner portal account, and you're going to have to submit your RSS feed into those platforms so that you can be syndicated everywhere. Anchor and their solution said, they say, okay, you can start a podcast for free. We want you to go ahead and record. We want you creating the content, but we control the RSS feed, and we control where that RSS feed is pointing to. So what happens is that you, as the podcaster, create a podcast on Anchor, and you start gathering all these subscribers to your iTunes page. Anchor is already published to iTunes, and now you're pushing people to the iTunes page to consume your content, right? You don't own that iTunes page. That's what's important here. You don't have ownership of that iTunes page because Anchor has done the work for you. Anchor has gone in and created a special account. I don't know how they're doing it, but they've created this account on iTunes where it's pushing to iTunes. What it means is that link inside of Anchor is theirs, and you can't ask them to change the link that pushes to iTunes with a link from, or an RSS feed link from Libsyn or from Blubrry. They own that feed. They own that RSS feed. It's the service on their end. They're doing you the favor, okay? And that's what makes this free service very questionable in my eyes. So what do you do when it comes down to moving from Anchor over into a service like Libsyn? Now, what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to, number one, start a brand new service. You're going to have to go in, start a Libsyn account, start a Blubrry account, a Spreaker account, whatever it may be, all right? And what you need to do is you need to ask them first, say, can you migrate my podcast from Anchor over into your service? That's something specific you need to ask them. If they can't migrate, what you're going to need to do is you're going to have to start uploading your podcast from the latest episode on forward. What does this mean for your previous episodes that have been getting traction? Means you'll lose them. okay? But you might as well start from the very beginning of a brand new episode. So you'll want to start uploading your new episodes into your new service if there's no migration available with that service, okay? Then what you'll want to do is you'll, of course, go in and label everything. What you'll want to do is you'll want to go on over to Anchor, and you'll want to record a brand new episode that notifies your listeners on that feed to say, hey, I'm moving from Anchor over into a new service. There's going to be a brand new podcast page that you're going to have to access. Here is the link that you can use. One easy way to get people to go over to your new iTunes page is that if you have a WordPress site, you can download a plugin called Pretty Link. What that easy link will do is that it will redirect everyone from your Anchor podcast, and by you telling them this is what it is, it's, you know, shannonhernandez.com/iTunes, and they go to that link and it will take them to the new iTunes page where your brand new podcast is going to be hosted, or where that page lives. The next step that you'll want to take is you'll want to contact Anchor, and you'll want to tell them, can you create a 301 redirect to this RSS feed? In other words, you're asking Anchor to redirect to the new RSS feed, the new current feed, so that they can push all of that traffic there. Now, I have heard rumors, I've seen my friends talk about this on YouTube, and they say that reaching out to Anchor and having them do a 301 redirect is it's just, you don't know whether or not you're going to get an answer or not, because it's a very small team over there. And I don't know if that's true or not, but it's a risk that you're taking when it comes down to asking them to do a 301 redirect. Whether you get it or not is going to be up to Anchor. You have to remember that Anchor, as of right now, is still a startup. It's still trying to gain its footing into the podcasting space. It's a really good idea, the idea of podcasting, but it's still such a young company. Now that you have gotten everyone over onto your iTunes page, you now can start gaining subscribers to your iTunes page, your Google Play page, wherever you've done this. You're going to want to do this with every different service, okay? And the beauty behind owning your own iTunes page with your own iTunes account is that if, say, you don't want to be with Libsyn and you want to move to Blubrry or Spreaker, and you start service with them and you say, migrate all my podcasts from Libsyn over into Blubrry or Spreaker, they'll go ahead and do that, okay? Maybe it's at a cost or maybe it's free, just depends on the service, okay? But the beauty is that you own the iTunes page, you own the account for the iTunes page, and you don't lose subscribers. So you can go in and you can get your new RSS feed, and you can jump into iTunes and you can replace the old RSS feed with the new RSS feed without losing subscribers. Another benefit to having this iTunes page is that you can refresh the feed so that the podcasts show up on the podcast app, on your phone, or on the desktop. That's the beauty of this. Typically, what's happening with Anchor is that you can upload a podcast into Anchor, and it may take some time. It may take hours. It may take a day. With iTunes, it's going to take maybe an hour or less. They say wait 24 hours, but they're pretty good about pushing the podcast out onto the iTunes app or the podcasting app within an hour. It's pretty easy. So you're kind of weighing the options here as to whether or not a free service like Anchor is good enough for whatever you need. By no means am I here to tell you that using Anchor is a bad service. They're still a startup. They still have growing pains. They still got a lot of things that got to work out, and there's going to be people that are going to use it. But what's important that you need to understand is that if Anchor is not serving you the way that it should be, and you're looking to move to Libsyn, you may run into some of those problems where you're losing subscribers. Whether you have a lot of subscribers or minimal subscribers, that is going to be up to you as to whether the cost is going to be more to you in subscribers or not. So you got to kind of think about that. So are you thinking about moving your podcast from Anchor over into a new service like Libsyn or Blubrry? And tell me what some of your concerns are in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear that. Don't forget to go ahead and give a thumbs up to this video and share it out with your friends. And don't forget to subscribe on YouTube. Go ahead and click the subscribe button and press that little bell button down below so that you can go ahead and be notified when I will release a brand new video. And if you're a brand brand new podcaster and you're looking to jump into the podcasting space, I have a quick start guide that you can go ahead and check out that is up here in the video. So go ahead and make sure to click or tap on that, whichever device you're on, and that will help you out. And over here on the right hand side, I'm going to go ahead and place the video for that video that talks about whether or not you should be using Anchor. I would love for you to be more educated about the service, and so you can make your own decisions as to whether or not you should be using something like Anchor. Again, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate your comments. I do get back to them, and I'll see you on the next video.